are allowed to think big and dream big. How to generate different systems. Systems that provide stability and are nested within the harmony of nature. I'm excited to explore with you the intriguing bandwidth of information our researchers and friends have surfaced. Let's dive into our next topic to find out how we can actively shape a future worth pursuing and living for.
Hi, my name is Francolin Sarkar, and in this episode, I'm going to discuss the priority of peace, justice, and strong institutions as a sustainable development goal and its influence on the other SDGs. Also, this analysis is to encourage the policymakers to think about rearranging the order of those development goals. But first, let's quickly revisit what SDGs are and how they have evolved from MDGs. In 2015, 17 interconnected goals that have been set and approved by all 193 member countries of United Nations to achieve sustainable development within 2030. The focus of SDGs is to leave no one behind. By the late 20th century, the United Nations recognized the need to integrate well-being into development, as a sole focus on economic growth led to inequality, conflict, and severe environmental damage. As an outcome of development change management, MDGs were introduced with 8 specific goals in the year 2000. Though MDGs had significant success stories in several regions, they were criticized for being overly ambitious and neglecting factors like conflict, politics, and human rights. In contrast, SDGs prioritize balanced global development and cooperation with 169 targets and 232 indicators compared to MDGs 21 targets and 60 indicators. Nonetheless, MDGs played a vital role in setting new benchmarks. Okay, now I'm going to discuss the focal point of this podcast. Goal number 16. Peace, justice, and strong institution. Starting with a quote by Martin Luther King Jr., "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly." The Sustainable Development Goals Report 2023 shows that civilian deaths in 2022 are raised by more than 50%. Over the past 2 decades, around 458,000 lives were lost due to global homicides, and the number of people forcibly displaced globally reached 108.4 million. Additionally, between 2017 and 2020, around 200,000 trafficking victims were identified. Corruption is one of the major barriers to persisting peaceful conditions and guarantee justice within national and international level. Especially grand corruption, which takes place at the highest level of government, involving substantial manipulation of political, legal, and economic frameworks, and systematic corruption, which occurs due to the weakness of an organization or process and distinct from the corruption of individual actors within the system. Now we will explore how warfare poses a challenge to development. If we consider war from MDG's timeline to recent time, several war and conflict has taken part all around the world. War in Afghanistan from 2001 to 2014, Iraq war from 2003 to 2011, Libya conflict, Syria conflict from 2011 till now, Yemen conflict started from 2014 and still going on, and Israel-Palestine conflict is also ongoing war with never-ending solution till now. But today, we are going to focus on the most recent armed conflict between Russia and Ukraine and its critical impact on achieving SDGs within the certain time frame of 2030. Russia-Ukraine previous territorial security conflict turned into the war from February 2022. It's still unknown when it will come to an end, but already the whole world is suffering enormously. The SDGs are affected biophysically, socially, and economically due to this current situation. We are diving into some exciting research to discuss. According to the scientific research titled The Russian-Ukraine Armed Conflict Will Push Back the Sustainable Development Goals by Pereira, Howe, Simoko, Inacio, Bogunovic, and Bercello determines how the goals are affected by war. To be exact, 6 million people in eastern Ukraine are struggling to have access to drinkable water and continuous releasing of toxic elements from ammunition and destroying industrial infrastructure affecting water resources which limiting to achieve SDG 6 clean water and sanitation. While the United Nations deeply focused on climate action, life below water, life on land, war is ruining the plan. Wars increase greenhouse gases directly to the atmosphere. In the case of marine water, the Black Sea is at the center of pollution due to destroyed ships and releasing oil into the water. Biodiversity in some of the coastal protected areas like Azov, Odessa, and Danube Delta are being affected directly and indirectly. And this obstruction is not only for Russia and Ukraine but also for neighboring countries like Romania, Bulgaria, Turkey, Georgia to achieve goal number 13 and 14. And 40% agricultural land are at risk of losing fertility along with massive land and soil pollution. Also, forest degradation lessens the possibility to achieve goal 15, life on land. On the other hand, unemployment has increased all over the world. Food prices reached dramatically high of 33.6% from March 2021 to 2022. This conflict can bring 1.7 billion people into poverty. Russia and Ukraine produce 78% of the world's sunflower oil and approximately 50 countries import 30% of their wheat from them. Food security is in risk, especially in Africa, the Middle East, and South America. Ukrainian cereal blockade on Black Sea can affect malnutrition of children. Now, what about the education system? 1,635 education institutions, including school universities, have been damaged. Approximately 665,000 students and 25,000 educators to be displaced from their home institutions in Ukraine, whereas students are continuing education in other countries such as Germany, Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Sweden, Finland, and Norway. Teachers are hosted in other European institutions as well. Women's physical and mental health is also a concern. They can't participate in decision making. Ukrainian crisis might increase the risk of human trafficking for women's sexual exploitation. The civil infrastructure is heavily damaged due to bombing and shelling. 161 cultural heritage sites have been destroyed. So SDG 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 11, 16 all is vulnerable due to this war. In the case of economical sustainability, this war has created a global economic crisis. The strong economic ties between Russia, Europe, and Central Asia will be affected severely. Russia reduced oil and gas exports. EU sanctions and Russia created an unstable global economy. EU GDP can decrease by 3 to 4%, in Russia 11% and 1% globally. Unemployment and uncertainty will challenge more rapidly if they continue alike. Already several companies have closed due to production costs. Policy establishment and implementation in Ukraine also under threat due to this conflict. So, decent work and economic growth, industrial infrastructure, consumption of production, partnerships for the goals are also directly and indirectly affected by war. About peace, justice, and strong institution, researcher Kumar and Roy mentioned that government and international organizations must put Goal 16 as a prerequisite and to the core of SDGs. In their paper, War and Peace, Is Our World Serious About Achieving Sustainable Development Goals by 2030? They cited that although primary responsibilities for ensuring peace rested at the national level, such responsibilities must be accompanied by responsible behavior and international cooperation. SDGs by 2030 cannot be achieved without global peace. The gap between aspirations and intent must be reduced. By the way, inspiration can be drawn from Marilyn Whiteaker, the Chief Operating Officer of the University of Oxford's SDG Impact Lab. According to Whiteaker, SDGs is about creating common language and setting targets and goals that mean we are working towards something. They aren't perfect, but if we don't have goals helping move us forward, we have no way of measuring our success or otherwise. So, to summarize, we have a strong structure, but it needs to be stronger. Especially without peace, no development can progress, and war and conflicts are the best example of it. By this analysis, we can have two possible solutions for restructuring the SDGs. Number one, we can consider peace, justice, and strong institution as the number one goal of SDGs, not number 16, and with strong command of demolishing war. Or, number two, we can ensure peace, justice, and strong institutions as the prerequisite of sustainable development. Finally, democracy. Yes, democracy plays a crucial role. Ensuring democratic practices in a country's internal governance is vital for attaining sustainability in the global development process. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully, you have found fresh insights through this podcast. Feel free to explore more episodes with interesting concepts from my colleagues.